Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of the Friends of Mine podcast.
Number 6 already?
Yeah, round 6.
I said to you last night it was number 6 and you were like, no, it's definitely number 5. Because,
yeah. I really genuinely hadn't thought we'd done that many, but it's cool. It's really cool. Just want to start this off by apologising for last week. I was really quite ill. I had some weird bug. So I couldn't do the episode, unfortunately, but we're here now. That's all that matters.
Couldn't do the episode or the bottomless brunch, which I was at. No, going to be honest with you, I'm more upset about that than this.
I was looking forward to that, actually, as I was going, but
so we'll
do it another time.
Obviously, I know that I saw you yesterday, but for the sake of...
we did see each other like 12 hours ago, less than 12 hours ago.
For the sake of the podcast, like, how are you? How are you been physically? You said you've been obviously poorly, but mentally?
Yeah. So basically, the last, I want to say a couple of weeks, might be a bit less than that. I've had like a lot of physical stuff going on. Like I've got a lot of little ailments that I've had for like months, even, well, some of them years and years and years actually, and they all just sort of came to a head at the same time, unfortunately. So I've been really, not just the bug, but in general had quite a lot of physical stuff come back, which in turn, because I'm, as you know, quite a bit of a hypochondriac, it's kind of a vicious circle, I think, where you sort of panic a little bit about what's going on with your body, and then that added stress sort of exacerbates a lot of the issues. So yeah, physically I've not been doing great, and it has sort of affected me mentally, although I think I've done quite well. I think if this happened years and years ago, I would have like really spiraled into like really panicking about everything that's sort of going on. But you know, doing the right things, going doctors about all of it, I think, every sort of thing that's going on, going doctors about with the mental health, because of sliding back into a bit of panic again. I have just spoken to the doctors about it and doing CBT on Thursday, which you spoke about quite a bit, so be able to share a bit with you on that and talk about that. So doing all the right steps,
which
mostly.
Is being proactive, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I think before I used to, if I had this happen before, I would have just panicked and been like, oh God, there's stuff going on in my body, I really need to get checked out. May have gone doctors, but definitely would have put that off through fear. Mm-hmm. I think it's natural when you have certain symptoms for you to say, I'm really shit scared, and maybe for me I used to put it off, which is really stupid because the doctor's the only ones that are going to know, but no, this time I just said, look, if this is could be serious, I need to go, and yeah, so I went, and like you say, trying to be proactive instead of reactive, I guess.
Which is a good thing. And how would you feel about starting a CBT? Obviously I've spoken about it before. I find it really beneficial. Would recommend. I mean, I'd recommend, people are different. I'd recommend counselling to anybody, but I've done counselling and I've done CBT, and I think they're both really good. You've got to go in there, I think, with an open mind, which I think, especially when I started the counselling, I was very reserved, and even like, I'd go there and I'd go, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. You're not fine because you're here. Like, that's not, and I found it really difficult to, not to be honest, but to open up. And I think it got to the stage where the bloke who I seen at first had turned around and said, if you're not going to be honest, then there's no point of you being here. Which is a brutal way of doing it, but also honest, because, I'm there for an hour, or I think it might be an hour and a half. Just be honest. And it's nice as well because the person you're sat across the room from doesn't know you outside of that room, so they don't have any expectations of you, they don't have any opinion on you, good or bad, and that's quite nice, just to go in and be completely honest with someone without any judgment. I mean, how do you feel about going and doing that?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be really nervous. I did do it once. I did have a period of doing it once before, but we're literally talking when I was 19, I want to say. So a long time ago. 16 years ago.
You said it, not me.
And I do feel it really helped, because I did do both. I did do the counselling at first, but I think with the counselling, might sound a bit weird, but it's briefly what we spoke about last time. But I think with the counselling, they kind of got the wrong end of the stick with me, because I went to the doctors saying that, was suffering from panic attacks, but also that they were caused by me being stupid and taking stuff I shouldn't have took. But then the doctors couldn't let that go. So they assumed that I was still on them, and that was still causing my panic attacks, even though, like I'd explained, I said no. Like, as soon as I had like the panic attacks, I was like, I stopped. Like, they were so scary and just took my mind over. I didn't even think about touching anything else. Like, I don't even think I drank for like 3 years, when like a sip of alcohol while I was having the panic attacks and that, and they couldn't look past that. So when they sent me to a counsellor, I sat down with the counsellor, and they'd obviously sort of, instead of saying, you know, how you feel, they started talking about the substances.
Right, yeah.
And I remember I even said to him, I said, like, that's not an issue. Like, it would have been an issue like 6 months before that. Yeah, this is my issue. But then it was like, that's not my issue. Yeah. That caused it. So the counselling didn't really work for me. But I remember the can't even speak now. CBT really helped me. It was good. I think that there was that and a couple of other things that were going on at the time, which sounds a bit weird because they were actually negative things, kind of. But they strangely helped. So I was doing CBT. I got dumped by a long-term girlfriend, and I passed my driving test. And it sounds really all within like a week. Yeah. And it sounds really weird, but those 3 things somehow gave me a bit of a path out of it, as well as some of the other stuff I was trying on my own, like reading, you know, trying to get into Eastern philosophy, a bit of doing meditation and stuff like that. I think all of that combined. But yeah, it sounds strange, but I feel like those events, even though one of them was quite negative, helped me.
Yeah, sometimes you need that
push.
Yeah, that push. And again, I said before, being sort of comfortable, you need sometimes something to shake it up and to...
Yeah.
And obviously worked, I'm guessing, because...
Yeah, I feel like it just changed my brain. Do you know what I mean? Even though, like I say, one of them was really negative, I think like the passing the driving test, it like, I don't know, I guess maybe, and this is subconscious, I don't remember ever thinking this, but now I can reflect on it, maybe it was just like, wow, I did something that people say is like one of the scariest things in the world while suffering from panic disorder. And that kind of just showed my brain, like, you can do this. If you can pass your driving test when you're going through this after being dumped, like, you can do this.
Yeah, definitely. You passed first time?
I did. Passed my theory first time, and my...
I passed my theory first time, failed my test first time. Actually, came up on my Facebook today, 10 years ago today, I passed my driving test. Which is mental how quick that's...
When would that have... Did you do it when you were like 20, was that then?
I'd have been 21.
I'm pretty sure that's the same as me. Pretty sure I passed when I was 21.
Was that Asda when I'd done my driving test? You and Tommy to come and pick me up after my driving lessons and go to Welland for the day.
I didn't even really get lessons either. I did about 4. I was doing it with my dad at the time. And I did my test in like what was kind of his car, but obviously became my car. But yeah, I didn't really have lessons. I did about 4 or 5, and because I was doing my dad, he was like, "Yeah, you're ready to like do your test," and then broke up with his missus, and then started telling me how I needed more lessons. I was like, "I know what's going on here. He's lost money. He wants money." You know, no judgment on the poor guy, but so I was like, sod that. So me and my dad just booked it, and I just did it in my own car.
I didn't even know you could do that. Like,
yeah, you can do it in any car.
I didn't know.
I think I can't remember if you have to like have a certain car maybe, but yeah, I did it, which I think was helpful because that car was so easy to drive. Like it was like a 1.8 diesel, so you like couldn't stall it. It was like so easy to drive. So I think if I did it in another car, I might have struggled. But that's on it.
How have I not like that? Yeah, little back history. Yeah, just learn something new every day. So obviously you said about you like the physical things and how that's affected you mentally, and you've done the right moves and going to the doctors, etc., etc. Away from going to the doctors, what else have you done to try and...
I'm always... One thing, I guess it's kind of a hobby of mine, you could almost call it, but one of my things is I'm always trying to work on my way of thinking. So I've been doing a lot of that. I haven't... And this kind of ties in, I guess, to some of the physical stuff that's going on, but I haven't really cleaned up my diet like I know I should, and I haven't really been exercising like I should, because I usually start with those things. I think they can be really important, like we spoke about before, but I have tried to change my way of thinking about it. I think some of my issues before is like when I was feeling anxious or depressed, I'd always like label myself as those things. Yeah. And I think I've got this from a book or something or something I've heard before, but it's like trying to separate it. So saying like, I'm currently suffering from a bit of anxiety, as opposed to saying I'm anxious, saying I'm feeling a bit low, or no, sorry, like I've got some depressive thoughts, instead of saying I'm depressed. Because when you're saying like you're really identifying with it, and it's becoming a part of who you are. So little things like that, I'm just trying to, which again, I suppose is something that maybe the CBT will get into, like that kind of, because it's all about your thinking, isn't it? So I'm already trying to do that a little bit, but it is difficult. It is really difficult at the moment. I always struggle when it comes to worrying about my health. Like I say, I'm a massive hypochondriac. I think it comes from stuff when I was younger. I used to read medical books when I was a kid for some weird reason. Like I have no idea why, but naturally you learn all these symptoms. So when you get a few bruises, you're like, oh God, I'm dying of this.
I always say as well, don't I? Because I can imagine you're the sort of person that it's got a headache and my eye is sore, and you're Googling it and you're like, oh my God, I've got a
100%. And obviously, like I say, because it started young, because Google obviously didn't really exist around that time, but I used to go into medical books because we had them. So it's like almost the same. You know how people now, like you say, they Google their symptoms. I was reading on my symptoms. And I think as well, like I don't obviously ever want to put blame on my parents, because I know why they did it. And, you know, like I say, I've had a great upbringing and everything. But another thing I think that caused that a little bit was when I was younger, my parents used to do that thing, which I think all parents, or a lot of parents do. They use illness and stuff to try and stop you doing things, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like my mum would do that. If I went anywhere near rust, she'd say, I think it's my mum or dad, but they'd be like, don't go near rust, you might get tetanus, you know, or stop playing there, you might get this. And I remember one specific thing, it always stuck in my head, because I'd never, even though, like I say, I used to know quite a lot about medical stuff, I'd never heard of the disease before, but I think it's Legionnaire's disease.
Yeah, in water.
Yeah. I remember once we were on holiday and I was walking under a pier and there was obviously water dripping off, and I just remember them saying, oh, be careful, if that hits you, you could get Legionnaire. And I think naturally that, among just my natural way of thinking at the time, kind of caused me to have my hypochondria. I mean, maybe not. I think sometimes you always look for reasons, and maybe that's a complete lie, but the fact that I still remember that now means that must have scared me at the time. Yeah,
what did I say to you on Wednesday? And I told you that if you were a car, you'd fail the MOT, didn't I? So when you sat on Wednesday and you sort of listed off all the things that are going on, you do sort of almost think to yourself, no wonder, like, you're struggling, because you've got all these different concerns, and it's going to naturally affect you as well. So it's not a surprise that you've found it difficult maybe the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it has been a bit scary, and like I say, it's just the fact they kind of like all sort of come out at once. So I'll briefly go into it just in case people wonder what I'm going on about. So number one is like my bowels have been playing up for like since May, so however long that's been, 6 months, no, we'll say that. Maths is not much like really bad, and so I've got tests going on there, but so naturally you just kind of always think of the worst case scenario, and obviously the doctor's a little bit concerned. They want to do a colonoscopy, which I've got on Tuesday, so that's going to be nice. I already went to have it happen before, but it all went wrong, the bowel prep, so I unfortunately couldn't have it done. So I've got to do it again.
Pain in the arse, isn't it, man?
Literally. So not look forward to that. I used to, when I was younger, suffer, well, I say younger, in my teenage years, went doctors and found out that I have something called an ectopic heartbeat, which basically means your heart does like a double beat, but it actually feels internally like your heart stops for a split second. So literally you'll just suddenly feel like a thump in your chest, although I feel them a bit more in my throat, to be honest. And then it will just suddenly go back to normal. But like in that brief instant, obviously it can occasionally make you panic. And they did say from the beginning, they were like, look, lots of people suffer from this. It can be caused by a variety of things, probably nothing serious. But they did say to always look out for if you ever feel breathless around the time it happens or start blacking out. And unfortunately, I did start feeling really breathless when I had some really strong ones, and started feeling like I was going to black out a week or so ago. So unfortunately, I've had to go and have that looked at as well. And the other thing is just been having lots more floaters in my eyes, which I've always suffered from, but they're really annoying. And I'm not too worried about that one because it's not drastically bad, but I've had to go to the opticians and they want to have a little look at that. So they haven't yet, but they're talking about sending me to a consultant about that. So yeah, it's just free, my sight, my heart, and my eating.
Other than that, you're all good.
Yeah, so that's briefly it. But like I say, because of those three things, it's naturally made me panic a little bit. But I think I'm doing well in terms of toning that down a little bit. I had quite a few panic attacks about it, which was just strange because from going from having panic attacks all the time, I actually got them down to like having them very rarely, maybe one every 6 months, maybe even one a year. Like I really don't suffer from full-blown panic attacks much anymore, but unfortunately last week they did come back a little bit. I had a few in 1 week, which not nice, but
it's interesting. Like I don't know whether or not I'm now, because we do this and we talk a little bit more, whether or not I'm maybe more aware of it, or maybe I've been aware of it but not really paid attention, if that makes sense. But I think since we've started doing this, what's this, episode 6 we said, missed a couple of weeks, so here and there, so we've been doing it, say 10 weeks altogether. I've noticed in that 10 weeks you've almost like fluctuated. You've been with yourself, and would you agree with that? Like you've had, in this 10 weeks, we don't have to go into all the details, but there's been a lot that's gone on in these 10 weeks. Do you not, you've almost been up here, down here, up here, down here. Yeah. I don't know whether or not, maybe because we sit down once a week now and talk about it, I'm more aware. But from a friend's point of view, you look at it and go, it's been a mad couple of months. Like, since you've come back from travelling, that's obviously going to have a massive, again, you've shared a lot of it on the podcast. I don't know how much more you want to say, but you've had a whirlwind. How long have you been back now? 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah. So July. So I went at the end of June and come back at the end of July. So
August, September.
Feels like longer than that. Really, it's only 3 months really.
So
I think it's just been a lack of stability, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that's the major thing. Like even though, like I only went away for a month, but like I left a job and I come back and it's like been trying to sort out work, and I don't know. It just sounds weird, but it's kind of like I just don't feel like I've got much stable going on at the moment.
Yeah, we're creatures of habit as well, aren't we? Like,
yeah,
that's just the fact.
Yeah, I do feel like if I was tied down to like a proper full-time job and maybe got over some of these physical things a little bit, or just had some answers to it. But that's, I mean, there's a lot of like, I don't know what's going on and I don't know what the future's going to hold. I think as well, like when I left my job and went travelling, there was a little bit of me. It's like, right, when I get back, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And then when that doesn't happen, mostly through my own fault, like, not getting up and making stuff happen, it kind of, I don't know, just makes you feel uneasy. I think, like you say, I think as humans, we like a bit of stability. And at the minute, I just feel like I'm on a bit of rough waves and just need it to sort of slow a little bit.
I think especially, believe it or not, we're both anxious people.
Yeah.
And one thing for me is, and I've touched on it before, is that I have to have a routine. Like even on the weekends, and I need to know what we're doing and what times we're leaving, and if it gets thrown out in any way whatsoever, I'm almost like, it almost puts me in a bad mood. So for example, we're going to leave at 11 and then you text me saying I can't leave till 12. That's just fuck. Like, it just messes my head.
Yeah.
So I even work it's very routine, but it's comfortable because it's routine. Do you know what I mean? So I suppose, like you said, you've gone from not having that routine and not having that, because when you were working at Asda, I suppose it was, you'd been there for, I don't know how long were you there for?
12, 13 years.
But it was, like you said, it was routine, like you knew. Well, I suppose it was like autopilot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a bit like my job. It's all, so when things change, I am sometimes like, whoa, like, do you think that's maybe part of it? You haven't got the routine?
I think so. I think like anxiety itself is kind of that, isn't it? Even if it's on like the smaller time scale where you're like, oh, I'm doing this tonight and I'm really scared about it. Or it's like on the larger time scale where you're just like, I don't know what the future's going to hold. Like, I think that is the key to anxiety, really. It's like worrying so much about the future. And I annoyingly, I have it on the long term and the short term, not too much on the long term. That was the thing as well. I think what it is my short term anxiety, which I've always had, where I'm constantly like, oh, does this person like me? And oh, what's going to go wrong when I go and do this? Like, that has now creeped into being long term as well, where I'm like, what the hell does the future hold for me? Because I just don't know. That's my thing as well. Like, I think human brains just want to know everything, don't they?
But none of us know what the future
Well,
holds.
no, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And you can get, there's two levels to it, and I have fluctuated between it a little bit. Like, I'm very good. Like, if I wake up in the morning and listen to like a positive podcast or like a, or something like that, and listen to some good music, I'm getting a really good headspace where I'm like, actually, it's pretty bloody exciting to like not have anything tied down and have a future where I don't know what could happen. But then that sometimes doesn't last very long, and that joy and excitement about the future can really rapidly fall off into, oh God, what if it's a really negative future?
And do you find that it could be the slightest thing that sends you off, I suppose?
Yeah,
on
100%.
So you could be 1 minute on top of the world, and the next minute you could be...
I think I'm really good when I'm alone at getting myself, which again, it could sound weird to some people, because I know a lot of people when they'll feel most optimistic when they're like around people, because they forget about it and stuff. But I sometimes feel a little bit the other way around, because when I'm on my own, I can do my work and my way of thinking and get myself in a positive headspace, and then through my interaction with other people, it can send me the other way. So for instance, like if I'm in a good headspace and then I go down and have an argument with somebody, or like get cut up in traffic or something, it can snap me back into... But I suppose that really just shows how much work you got to do, because I need to get to the point where I can bring that serenity, or whatever you want to call it, that sort of really good headspace into my relationships with
everyday
people.
life.
And I mean, like, into everyday life. Like, when I walk out the door, can I keep that state of mind? And the answer is a lot of the time, no. But I'm getting better. I do feel I'm getting better. I think I'm a massively slow work in progress. So maybe when I hit 80, I might get to like a really good place.
I will, but what I always say, so we went out yesterday.
Yep.
With a romantic evening to start with, just me and you.
It was.
And then we were joined by some unexpected guests, and obviously I knew them. You sort of knew them.
Yeah, I knew a few of them, yeah.
Did any part of you have any anxiety when they sat down? Because we know, and I won't mention names, but we have got other friends in our friendship group who and then like I said, I wasn't expecting all of them to come down, and it was actually a really good laugh. It was good to see them. Yeah. But I did like consciously think to myself, God, I wonder how he feels about this, because he's just had 6 people come and sit down at our table.
Even more than that.
Yeah, and like I said, they were really polite about it, but I just sort of thought...
Yeah, no, I think, obviously, I'm not going to lie and say it didn't help that I knew a few of them. I think if it was total strangers. And the alcohol. I think it's much easier to make friends or not care about what people think of you when you've had a few drinks, to be honest. So that may have helped.
Yeah, very true.
Let's be honest, we had a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
But no, I initially there's a little bit of anxiety, like, am I going to sit here and not be able to talk? Am I going to open my mouth and something stupid's going to come out? And then they're going to go, that Wayne's a bloody weirdo, isn't he? Like, but no, and luckily they were all really, like, say, nice people, so it kind of helps. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. And I do think if that was a situation where I was totally sober and I didn't know any of them, it may have...
More daunting.
But no, and they were nice people, and they were very... I think I said this to you, especially about a couple of them. They're very good at engaging you, which is really nice. Like, I think it's something I think I strive to do, but it's really hard as an introvert. I think you have to have an element of extroversion with that, where you... don't make people feel anxious, do you know what I mean, when you meet them?
Yeah.
And I think I'm okay at that one-on-one. I think I struggle in groups to... Do you know what I mean? Like, do you not feel like... Again, I don't want to name names, and this isn't a negative thing, so I was telling you how much I really like the guy. But there was a person there who was very good at doing that. It's not leading. That's the wrong way to put it, because he's not leading you anywhere, unless you're leading the conversation maybe. But he's very good at...
People hang on his every word, don't they?
Yeah.
He is, and again, we don't have to say who it was, but yeah, he was very good. And I've got friends like it as well, who they talk and just people just naturally just listen to them.
Yeah, and get drawn in and they get involved in the conversation. Yeah, and I think I'm okay, maybe one-on-one with that. But if I was sat in a group of just introverts, I think I might struggle. Or maybe I wouldn't. You never know.
No.
Maybe that would spring one of you up. Maybe if it's a group of proper introverts, one of you would take the role as maybe. But
Yeah. I mean, it sounds quite a little bit selfish, but I didn't even really think about it when I said originally to the two. Obviously, it was really busy. If you guys want to sit down, you can. And then there was 6 of them that came and joined us. I didn't think it wasn't until a couple of days later I suddenly thought, I wonder how Wayne actually feels.
No,
about
and I'm not
this.
being funny. Like this might sound a bit weird because it might sound like I'm saying if I just wanted to hang around. But if we went out to a pub, do you know what I mean? If I was just I really want a bit of one-on-one time with Dean, I maybe would have messaged you saying, "Can I just come around yours and let's just stay at yours?" So I didn't mind being sociable at all, man. But that's you worrying. You see, you're feeling guilty, but no, honestly,
I sort of got home,
and I think you would have known. I think I would have been really quiet maybe. Do you think that, again, we're not naming names, but do you think if you bring out one of those other friends would you have still said to them, come and sit down?
No, I don't think so, because I don't need to say that we're both thinking the same person, and this person would admit themselves I think their worst nightmare would be to be sat down at a table with people they don't know and talking about. It wasn't just about football, but there was I would say about football. You're a Norwich fans, not that much, but
every single episode.
but we were able to have that conversation and talk about. And one of them had been travelling, so you guys were able to talk about that, which I think helped as well. I just think that the particular friend may have struggled in that.
Which I get. I think I said this to you before, or maybe to him. / her, but I think I've said I might have been to both of you or either of you, but I share the similarities with, which is probably maybe why we're the three of us are friends maybe. But I share that little bit of social awkwardness, so I can totally understand it, but also I don't think I'm to the degree of that, but it's quite nice to be able to see it from.
We're almost in stages, aren't we? That person is more. I wouldn't say socially awkward. That's not the right thing to say. But I'm trying to think how to word it. He's more introvert.
Yeah, has quiet, more social anxiety, maybe.
And then you're probably not as bad as him.
No.
And then. I think I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why we all got on as well as we all got on, because you all almost help each other, I suppose, realising.
Yeah, for instance, if I was out last night with someone else, they wouldn't have come over. Do you know what I mean? If I was out there on my own, I would have just been sat on my own. Do you know what I mean? So it's nice that you can bring that in.
Yeah. It was good. It
turned such a social butterfly.
Well, it turned out to be quite a good laugh.
But do you think it brought any more anxiety to the night for you? I mean, I don't feel it didn't look like.
No, do you know what? I think we spoke about. Excuse me. We spoke on previous pods about how my drinking was an issue, and I was just. But I think since that night I was on about, I've been really good. So. We had a few drinks yesterday, but normally I'd be ordering shots and baby Guinnesses and Jaegers and all the rest of it. But didn't. I just stuck to one, and I think that helps as well. I think I mentioned before about getting anxiety, and normally after a night out, I'd wake up, I'd feel groggy, and I'd feel like shit. I didn't this morning. I felt okay, and then I'd lay on the sofa and I'd have that. Oh my God, what did I say to upset anyone yesterday? What have I done to upset anyone yesterday? And then I've listened to the voice notes that I sent you on the way home.
I forgot about that.
It was.
Do you feel like you said before on a podcast that sometimes you still get anxious in social situations like that, because you feel like you're having to be somebody and be really talkative?
Yeah.
Do you feel? I suppose it was difficult last night because I say difficult. There was quite a few really talkative people.
Yeah.
So I suppose that helped. But I wondered if you still had that little bit.
No, I think if we'd gone to a different, so say we went to Birmingham or Nottingham, I think that's where my anxiety would probably be higher, because again, like if something goes wrong last night or any stage, I think I'm just going to go home. Like I'm a 20-minute walk, so that was fine last night. I suppose there's a bit of anxiety, and I think I always put a pressure on myself, like, and a defence mechanism is just try and make people laugh, just try and make people laugh, try and. But no, I think I probably just felt more anxious for you about is Wayne comfortable in this situation, because obviously. Well, yeah, it wasn't. It just sort of happened, didn't it?
It's nice. I genuinely did have a really nice night.
It was good. It was good.
I think, like I say, maybe when they first sat down, there was just that little bit of like, oh God, am I going to have anything to say? But as soon as you say the first thing and they don't all look at you and go, what the fuck? Well, you're like, oh, that's fine then.
And you, I mean, you know a couple of them anyway, sort of. So you were what you done quite well last night was banter, particularly one of them, about previous meetings of them. And I think that sort of eased it, and I think that definitely helped.
It's quite interesting as well. Again, like, obviously I don't really won't name names, but I was talking to one of them a bit about the travelling, and I found that because he seemed quite confident, but he was saying that, like, there's no way in hell he could have gone away, because I think he did similar to me, like, time-wise and everything. He was saying there's no way he could have done it on his own, which is kind of strange, because in that social situation, if anyone's looking from the outside, they would have probably said, he looked, like, pointed at me and said he looks really, like, not very confident. This other guy seems quite confident. They maybe would have thought it's the other way around. But that's strange, because, like I say about being anxious about the unknown, I kind of like that adventurous bit. That I think I've mentioned it before. Like, I kind of liked going away on my own in the sense that something could go wrong and it's on me to try and sort it out. There's varying degrees. I guarantee if I'd literally been stranded somewhere, I probably would have cried and wanted to come home. But like within, if it's something I can control but it goes a bit awry, I think I kind of like that. It's a bit strange.
And you say that, so again, I'm quite outgoing and would talk to anyone, but I couldn't go travelling on my own. I just...
I find that... It sounds so strange, but like I kind of just feel like I need to sit down and dissect that. Because in my head, I always feel like people that are more sociable or have less social anxiety would be better at stuff like that. It's strange, isn't it?
But I just don't like... Even like when you go away for a honeymoon, I just don't like travelling. I don't like there's that bit, and even though I know we're not going to oh my God, we're going to miss the flight. Oh my God, we're going to miss our coach. And we're going to do this, we're going to do that. If I'm travelling on my own, like, I think that's even
worse.
Yeah, I've never travelled on my own, so I don't know. I'll be really honest. I've got no sense. I think we touched on it before. No sense of direction. Like, I literally have to use a sat nav to leave my drive. Like, I'm just not good at that sort of thing. Where you proven it. You went for a week, a month, and travelled around Europe. Even like you were lying to us and getting pictures off Google, and you actually just sat in a Premier Inn at Wilby Roundabout.
I sat in Wellingborough,
just for a month.
I wonder if I could actually pull that off, just Photoshop myself into pictures. But no, like, I suppose, and again, I suppose it could come from experience a little bit, because you lot always used to joke a little bit about the amount of stuff I used to do on my own. But I do sometimes like going away on my own, just because you have that freedom of just doing stuff, and so maybe it comes a little bit from that. But yeah, it just sounds so weird. I suppose it just shows my own prejudice that in my head, I think that really sociable people are better at doing things like better. I guess I feel like social people are more confident, and therefore I feel like they'd find stuff like that easier. So it just kind of shows you, doesn't it, how your perception of people and people's personalities can be wrong. And everyone's different. There's probably some extremely extroverted people that are really good at it, but it's just funny that I had that example of him and you, because we spoke about it before. It's just But anyway,
that's good. It's good. So I thought that was just more of a very long check of how you've been. And
how about you? I haven't actually asked you how you've been the last.
It's I wasn't really sure what I was going to say or how much I was going to say before coming on here, but I think we need to be organic, and if we're not going to be truthful, then how can we expect people to listen to it and reach out? So I'm currently signed off work with anxiety and stress. That was end of the week. I mean, we've spoken. I think I'm naturally anxious at the moment because of stuff that's going on. You know, with the baby that's due in just over 6 weeks, which is just mental. And so I think there's naturally a bit of that, and just some bits at work where I've not been feeling maybe myself, and I can't even really pinpoint what it is because I've been. It sounds bad, but not unhappy, but not been happy at work for a little while. So, but for some reason, the last sort of 3 weeks or so of it sort of all come to a head. So yeah, I'm off at the moment. Which when I spoke to the doctor about, I think it was Thursday, they sort of said about, maybe you need some time off, and I was really unsure at first because obviously, like I said before, I'm a creature of habit, and I like. I don't like not doing anything, even on weekends. I like to keep busy. I have to keep busy. So I'm a little bit worried if I'm at home, am I going to get stuck in a rut? I know you sort of touched on it when you were looking for work. That was the big thing for you. And then, I've got to go to the doctor on Wednesday for an ECG. We're falling apart between the two of us, aren't we? So I've been having sort of chest pains, and when I say like a regular heartbeat, I can't really explain it. So they reckon it might just be anxiety, but just to be safe, they want me to go. So there's I suppose, although I know, or I'm pretty certain it's nothing serious, it's added more anxiety.
It's like a vicious circle, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Because I'm, more. I'm sort of 99% certain it is probably just anxiety. And do whatever they've got to do, and it will all come back fine. But there's also that one part of you that is, oh my god, I've got a heart tumour or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, I think that's just naturally how I am, a bit of a worrier. So yeah, that's a bit of shit at the moment in terms of like that, but. Again, just trying to do the positive things, which is, I know we went out last night, stop the drinking, because again, and something I have done was, coming home from work and having a beer after work on like a Tuesday for the sake of a beer, like that's not, just why, and it was pointless stuff, so stop doing that. Getting out, and even with the dogs, I think I said to you yesterday, normally I take them out and it's sort of a 20-minute walk, but going out for longer, sort of putting my headphones in and I find that all has helped. So yeah, good and bad at the moment, good and bad. I just think I need to work out what it is that's making me feel like this at work, because otherwise I'm going to go off and then go back, and then in 3 weeks' time be having the same conversation. So yeah, off at the moment. Hopefully just for a week, but I just need to get myself
sorted.
But yeah, it's bad because I actually work with some really good people, but I seem to wake up at the moment and almost be filled with just dread, which isn't. There's a lot of, I don't think many people wake up in the morning and jump out of bed and say, yes, I'm off to work. And I don't know, maybe the darker mornings, the colder mornings, I think what do they call it?
Seasonal affective
disorder. That's it,
yeah.
So I think I think we all have a part of that. Like,
I think so. I say when you don't have enough sun, it can like physically affect you because you're not getting the vitamin D and stuff. But I think it just can affect your mood, can it? Because you're just seeing darkness everywhere. Yeah,
like I said, you leave. I mean, I leave sort of 6 o'clock in the morning, come back at sort of 4, and it's dark when I leave and dark when I get home. So I think that has probably had an effect as well. I think it's just naturally an anxious time with a potential.
It's bound to be, and I wonder if it all just does stem from the baby, really, and that's just making. Because I suppose if that raises your anxiety to a certain degree, and then obviously you're not getting on with your job on top of it, it's just like constantly adding these different layers and layers. Do you think, going back to your time off, do you think you're going to try to find things to do to take your mind off it? Because that is the worry, isn't it? If you now take the time, like you say, you might just start being more anxious.
And I think, as much as I love my wife Joanna, she will find stuff for me to keep busy. She will see this as I can have him getting this ready. So that'll be fine anyway. Like, I almost need a time to. I need to keep busy. Like I think if I just almost sat and wallowed in self-pity, then that would make things worse. So I need to keep busy. I need to, find stuff to do. So that'd be a good thing. So yeah, I think it'll be okay. I think, just like I say, I think it all ties back a lot of it to the baby. They're quite concerned that the baby, well, not even concerned, but the baby is really small. Mm-hmm. So there's an element of that as well. We're having to go for regular scans. And I think, again, you naturally worry, we've got another scan this week, and there's almost that, is everything going to be okay? Is everything going to be okay? And then, and then it just snowballs. And I think when you're not in a good place, if something happens at work, you can almost brush it off and go, yeah. But when you've got these external worries as well, and I can almost feel, I'm quite laid back, but I can almost feel like my temper, like I'm more irritable. Do you know what I mean? Stuff where someone would say something and I'd just, whatever, it would annoy me, but I'd have a 30-second rant to myself and then leave it. Like, it's been annoying me more, and I've been probably, and I actually said this, I sent a message to my boss the other day and just said to him, I've been probably less proactive than I normally would be. I've been more irritable, and then they messaged me back and said, like, I can tell something's bothering you. So I suppose, again, it's how people expect a certain Dean, and when you're not that, people do pick up on it. But yeah, other than that, chickadee boo. It's like I said, we're falling apart between the two of us. But I'm hoping, once the baby's here, other than being probably sleep deprived, that I can get myself back onto a level. Yeah,
and you might have an anxiety, but it'll be a different anxiety. I think this will be just a worry, about looking after the baby, where now it's like you're just a bit confused and maybe just a bit, not quite sure how it's going to go. But I think as soon as the baby's born, it's going to be just like your natural instincts are going to kick in, and maybe hopefully that baseline anxiety will lower a little bit.
It's just mad as well. Like, I know we keep saying like every pod, but like 7 weeks today there's going to be a baby here. Like, that is just mental.
I think it would be very, very unusual for someone not to be a bit anxious. So I wouldn't beat yourself up about it. I think it's totally, totally normal. But
I do have, like I said to you before, like even like last night, like one of the lads said, "Oh, not long to go now, is it?" And I went, "No, just over 6 weeks." And then they go, and they're like, "Oof," and I think, and it could be sooner as well. I mean, the baby decides they want to come. It could be really anytime.
It's the biggest thing that's going to happen to you, really, isn't it?
Oh no. So we were talking the other day. So Joe's due on the 19th, and I just said to her, any day other than the 17th of December. And she's like, "Why?" I said, "It's Liverpool Man United." she said, "What, you'd missed the birth of your child?" And I said, and to be fair, I was lucky to divorce me. I said, "Joe, you've been in my life for 10 years. Liverpool have been in my life for 31 years. So don't make me choose."
Dear.
But yeah, I think, and naturally a bit anxious about that. I think it's probably just all snowballed into.
And poor Joe's not had the best time with it either, which I don't think would help.
She's struggled, bless her. It's been and she's way too hard on herself as well, because she's like, I've been really shit and moany for it all. And I'm like, no, you haven't, not really.
Yeah,
like, I will wind her up and say, like, you're moaning again, but like, never malicious way. She knows that. And I'm like, you're not at all. Like, it's been hard. Like, she had a lot of sickness and, emotional and all that, but I think that's expected, isn't it? Especially with them, like I said, not having issues with when the baby's really small, then being told the baby's okay, then being told it's really small again, and I'm trying to balance that without all the hormones.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do. With most problems we go through in life, I can offer some advice or say something, but Joe's a midwife, so nothing I can say is gonna.
It's true.
And people say to me, "Oh, it must be really good." It's probably the opposite way. It's probably worse that she's midwife because she knows.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario all the time.
Yeah, it's like they say about doctors, don't they? Doctors make the absolute worst patients.
Yeah, and I think there is, and there's bits where, I'm trying to say to her, it's fine, everything will be okay, and she's like, but she, not deliberately does it, but I just, like you said, she knows the worst case scenario. So I'm trying to reassure her, but it's really difficult, and it has been. I think these last sort of 3 months when we first found out and they said, about the size of the baby, we're a little bit concerned. I think it's been tough and we just both are bored of waiting now. Like the first bit, you have that initial excitement of all we know and no one else knows. And then it's the excitement of telling everyone. And now it's like, okay, like we just want it to be here now, do you know what I mean? So yeah, just a lot going on. I think when you sit down and you say it all, I almost, if it was you saying it, I'd be going like, no wonder you're anxious at the moment. But
that's why I think this is good and why, not everyone would be able to do a podcast or want to do a podcast or maybe literally have the confidence maybe to do it.
Yeah.
But you can, like you say, I think sometimes you doing this where you get to sit and literally go through what we've been going through, and there's things people can do similar to that, like journaling. I mean, it's something, I'll be honest with you, I enjoy writing in terms of on computers and stuff, but I hate physically writing. And I feel like with journaling I would never keep it up if I was trying to do it on my phone and stuff, but it's apparently meant to be really good. And I think that's similar to what you just said, when you journal and stuff, you can literally look back and go, wow, do you know what, when I've put this on pen and paper or whatever, or us on this podcast, this is so normal, not, it's all I'm going through at the moment, of course I'm going to feel like this, which helps, because I don't know if you're the same as me, but sometimes my brain, and I suppose the brains naturally do this, but I will feel anxious and then I'll find myself almost trying to find things that I'm anxious about so I can put it to something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And like you said about the journaling, when I do my CBT, that's one thing they say is to have a worry diary. But I'm different. I prefer to write things down on paper rather than on my phone when I've got the handwriting of a 4-year-old. So
I think that's part of what it is. I mean, plus I don't know if it's something wrong with me, but when I write for more than about 20 minutes, my hand and wrist just fucking kill me. So you need to a Lego man, so I can just pop bits off you and rebuild you again. Honestly, I don't think there's one part of my body that's okay, apart from my Yeah, so do you really feel, do you still do the writing?
Yeah, so that's what they say, part of the CBT, they say to write your thoughts down, they call it a worry journal, and you write it down, and yeah, sometimes you do look back at it. I mean, one thing I'm really bad at, and I don't have a period as well, is I will write myself a note, and then we'll come back to it later on and look at it and go, what the fuck is happening to me? The amount of times I do it, even it's a worry diary or at work, I've got my diary at work and I scribble something in it, and I get back the next day and I'll go, no, I don't know.
I do diaries. I'll put in a diary I'm doing this at 2:00, but I'll put it in code because I can't bother to write it out. It'll just be I don't know, CS at 5:00, and I'm like, what the CS mean?
Yeah. The amount of times I've done it, and then you sit there and you go sort of what did I do yesterday? And what is it? And after regular film, but going back to the worry journey, even that helps, and it helps you also, I think, realise that your worry's not that big, but maybe you're overthinking it, And again, I am an overthinker. But I I find that does help. I think that's something, if anyone's listening, you know, write down what it is. Even if you don't go into it then, write it down and go back to it later. And a lot of the time it's not a big thing, but it's something then once you've had a chance to look at it and then and almost dissect it, a little bit like we just done then, a lot of the time it's not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah, because I think our brains are so good at like having something happen that is out of our control, but you know, isn't life-changing, but our brains will, because of the way they work and because of the whole, you know, fight and flight survival thing, it will literally like feel sometimes like that is like life-changing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not very good at it, but not at all. But I try and live with that. Again, I don't know where the quote comes from, but that thing about like, it's something along the lines of, if it's not going to affect you in like 5 months, don't spend 5 minutes on it. If it's not going to affect you in 5 years, don't spend 5 weeks worrying about it. You know, it's that like trying to just, but it's difficult. Like I'm really bad at it. Like there's some things that my brain will tell me is like life or death when it's really not. When it couldn't be farther from that. It's like the smallest choice in the world, and I'm like, this is a life or death decision. It really feels like that at times. And
I said to you as well, like, I have that real anxiety of thinking that I've upset someone or someone's annoyed with me. And I've tried to, probably not very successfully, but recently, not do that and not worry as much. And it's really hard because I almost think like you're programmed that way. Someone's a program to. I think you're quite good. I think we've got friends who are quite good as well. If they don't like me, I really don't care. Whereas I'm more, they don't like me. Why don't they like me? And not as good. I don't know. You might disagree with that. I think you're quite good at not caring what people think.
Yeah, in some respects, yeah. I can definitely see it in you though. I think because you were quite honest about it last week when, like, I think it was it on the Monday maybe, when I was like a little bit off because I think that was at the point where like I had like loads going on with what I was talking about before, like, and there's been other stuff going on. It's not just the physical stuff, but I had like so much going on, and you actually said to me like, I know it's wrong, but I really thought like I'd done so wrong, and that was good. And obviously it couldn't have been further from the truth. Like you lot, like. I think I said to you, with everything that's going on recently, I've really seen that I've got some really good friends because everyone was looking out for me. Like I was getting daily texts from like you and a few other people like checking on me, and I was like, yeah, it's so nice. So it couldn't have been further from the truth, but that comes from it, and that was good because sometimes I can see it. Like sometimes you'll say like I felt like you're off for me, and then I'll look back through the text or whatever, and I'll be like, oh, actually I was a bit short. But I remember, but at the time I really was like, no, that's just
I just think I'm naturally I do just worry, like, even with, like, just everything, with work as well, I think, and even more so, I think with my anxiety being heightened, you worry even more. So even, like, you know, a task at work, you know, and they've set a deadline for this day, I worry so much about I need to get it done, whereas I think, again, if I didn't have anxiety is high, I probably wouldn't worry as much. Does that make sense? And again,
definitely.
I think even more so the last 3 or 4 weeks, again, I think a lot of it goes back to the baby. I think just my day-to-day life, I feel more anxious, yeah. And then you start getting these chest pains, and like I said, I reckon it is probably just anxiety, but you can't help but think, oh my God, I'm going to die. Do you know? Like,
it's natural, especially when it comes to stuff like the heart. Like I think like everyone just always worries, don't they? As soon as your ticker has like a little sign of it. But like you say, it is unfortunately a vicious cycle. Yeah, it is. It's quite crazy how your mind and body can do that. I mean, I lived with it like to an extreme when I went through my panic disorder, because literally, it just sounds so weird. I suppose like. It even sounds weird to me, but I would get a little bit of dizziness or a little bit of a chest pain, and I would genuinely believe I was dying, as in like right there. I'd be like, oh my God, having a heart attack. And it would feel, and then obviously that anxiety would then cause your breathing to speed up, so your heart speed up. And I genuinely I went to hospital numerous times, doctors all the time, phone 999 once. Like I genuinely thought I was dying all the time. It's so crazy to see that relationship between physical symptoms and mental, and it can go both ways. Your mental can cause your physical, and then the physical manifestation of that causes your mental state to stress and anxiety to go up.
And I think definitely, I mean, we touched on it before, like physical exercise helps, and that's what I'm trying to make sure that I'm just doing a bit more of. So, you know, playing football on a Monday night, especially now it's getting a little bit colder, every part of me wants to go, no, I'll just sit on the sofa, it's too cold. But I know that it's good for me, so I almost, not force myself because I really enjoy it, but it is an effort when it's cold to convince yourself it's a good idea to go.
I think as well as a physical exercise, like you just, like we spoke about before, but you just doing it when you have every sort of excuse or like reason or want in your head to not do it is a big thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're sort of teaching your brain to do things that aren't comfortable and not take the comfortable option.
And I know it's good for me as well. Like, when I finish, we always have a laugh because no one takes it too seriously. Not everyone.
I was just thinking that. I was like, after the stories last night. So.
Yeah, but the majority of us don't take it too seriously. We just all have a laugh, and I feel better for it. And you get that, I can't think what the word's called. Endorphin, is it?
Endorphin rush.
And you can feel it as well. Like, and I definitely feel it when I'm. So it's just about trying to do what I can control. So more exercise, eating better, drinking less, all the stuff that. Well, no, we did go out last night and had a pizza for dinner. So probably not correct, but just trying to do the little things that I can control.
Yeah.
To help the anxiety. You know, I don't like being off work, but maybe it's what I need just to have a week.
Yeah, just rest. Like I say, because of the physical, like we're saying about how physical issues can then cause your mental, but of course, obviously, we know because of that it's the other way around.
Yeah.
If you look after your body, chances are it's going to help your head.
Definitely.
Like the thing is as well is I fully believe, from what like I think research and science has shown, that if you're like deficient in certain vitamins and minerals and stuff because you've been like me eating fast food all the time, that can cause mental issues. That can cause some more stress. Yeah. It's like sleep as well. So important.
Yeah. I thought I was really good with sleep, and then I had a really bad night's sleep the other day and got like 3 hours, and for the next day I was just miserable. And then part of me thinks, how am I going to do when the baby comes along and you're not even doing...
Unfortunately, you might just have to suffer.
Yeah, just survive on Red Bull and Lucozade for a little while. But yeah, I think we might be...
It's about time.
About time, yeah. Always good to chat.
Yes, mate.
We keep saying we have got a couple of people that have said they want to come on, so we do need to. I'll reach out to them again and see if we can get a date in the diary to have a guest on.
That'd be nice.
That'd be good.
And again, like we said before, if anyone's got anything they want to send in, just to
preferably money so we can buy some new microphones and some cameras.
Yeah, money would be great.
That'd be great. Yeah,
I more meant questions or stories, but either way, it could be both.
Yeah,
but because I think it'd be really good as well, and I think as me and you can only as well talk about so much. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it'll be nice to have and even different perspectives. Even if someone wants to message in and say like, I really don't agree with something you said, like it'll be nice to get other perspectives and stuff. So please, if you've listened to this end bit, please feel free to send a message. You can do it anonymously. Literally, like we can try to navigate it so that it's really sensitive and no personal information. We can do whatever, just feel free to send the stuff in. It'll be really nice to hear from you.
And I hope you have a good week, mate.
Yeah, you too, pal. You too. Goodbye.
Bye.